Welcome back to Nick Lenz's Comic Corner Classic / Non-Classic. This is episode number 846 and Doubleshot number 740. Two X Factor trades. Well, it's the first two volumes of All New X Factor. We're going to first start with All New X Factor Volume 1, Not Brand X. This collects the first 6 issues of this short-lived ongoing series. And of course, it's the same creative team for 20 issues. Very rare you see that nowadays. Excuse me. Now you might see like a writer stay in the book for a long period of time, but not much for an artist. No. It's very rare you see that nowadays. A lot of the time, even for a short-lived title like this one was 20 issues, by the way, over the course of an entire year. Yeah, for some reason, Marvel decided to release this title twice a month. My guess is the reason why they did this, and it's just my personal theory, is because this was proved to be a big success with the previous X Factor series, also done by Peter David, the one that lasted from 2006 to, I think it was like 2012. Yep, this is a brand new X Factor team. How this particular series came about? The series was actually set up in an issue of the final arc of the previous X Factor series, The End of X Factor, where Harrison Snow, though you don't see him, you see him in shadow, but that's technically his first appearance. I think it was issue number 260, I think it was. Yeah, he basically bails Polaris out of jail and offers him a place in his team. When his team's first formed, there's only 3 people part of the roster, which is Polaris, her half-brother Quicksilver, this is before the controversial retcon in Access, and Gambit. Yep, Gambit. Oh yeah, and by the way, from Gambit's point of view, this is right after his ongoing series just ended. Yeah, isn't that quite weird? This just takes place right afterwards. Of course, they do add a few more people to the roster over the course of issues. They add Doug Cypher, Warlock, well, Doug Ramsey, who's also a Cypher, the alien the techno guy Warlock, not a Warlock, this is a different guy. Heck, they reference this in another trade. And they also add Danger. Yes, a character created by Joss Whedon. If you look at all the characters that appear in this title, Danger is probably the youngest out of all these characters. Why would I say she's the youngest? She has not been around for very long. By the time the series started, back in 2014. She only been around for 10 years. Yes, Danger lived around for 10 years. Warlock and Cypher made a debut back in the 80s. Polaris, Quicksilver made their debut back in the 1960s. As for Gambit, he made his debut in the 1990s. Yep. Who created by these characters? Well, Polaris was created by, I think it was Roy Thomas who created her. Quicksilver was created by the late Stan Lee and the late Jack King Kirby. Gambit was created by Chris Claremont and Jim Lee. As a matter of fact, he was one of Chris Claremont's last major creations he did during his original run from the King X-Men run. As for Danger, she was created by John Cassidy and Joss Whedon from their epic run from Astonishing X-Men. Yeah, she made her debut in the second arc of the series. Yeah, the second arc of Joss Whedon's run, that's when the first time she showed up. Yep. Yeah, this is a corporate version of X Factor. This is the first one since the original X Factor from the 80s, which was started by Bob Layton, and I think it was... I know Louis Simonson did what she was not original writer. I'm trying to think it was Bob Layton. No, it wasn't originally. I think it was Walt Simonson. I think it was the original group, the one that was mainly featured the original 5 X-Men. That was a private version of X Factor. Yeah, they referenced in the previous book. They referenced the government version. Technically, this is the 4th X Factor group. 4th group comes up X Factor because you have the original group, which is comprised of the original 5 X-Men. The second group, which is mainly from the early to mid-90s, that's the government incarnation of X Factor. The third one, which is done by Peter David. By the way, Peter David was responsible for the creation of 3. Yeah, the last 3 versions of X Factor were created by Peter David. He created the government version, he created the PI version, and he created this version. Simple as that. Yeah. With this one, they are basically somewhat like a public relations team. in a way, and they do like various things. Yeah. And of course, they have this little logo, and they have this in the cover of all the issues of the series. Sevron Industries. Well, presented by Sevron Industries. Yep. I should point out, though, the artwork is done by Carmine. What's this? Carmine Del Galamaco. I think it's the person's name. Yeah, this is the guy who's also the current artist of The Flash. Yes. Oh, and by the way, all the covers look like this. Yep, this is all the covers. This is how the covers are designed. Yep, and it's like this the entire series. That's not a joke. And they all wear these special uniforms, which makes them the first version of X Factor to have uniforms since the original version. Yes, the last two, technically did not have well, scratch that. I believe the government versions did have uniforms. The PI version is probably the only one did not have their own all wear the same uniform. Though this is a corporation sponsoring this one. In the case of the original version, it was Angel who was sponsoring the team. Yeah, Warner Industries. Though that was not a branch like this is. Yeah, in the case of Harrison Snow, as for who this guy is, they don't explain who this guy is until like the end of the series. Yeah, they'll explain what the heck his backstory is. Yep. Yeah, the series starts out with Polaris breaking Gambit out, and of course also revealed that, I think over the course of this particular trade, that Harrison Snow is sleeping with his assistant. Yeah. Those of you curious though, who is Harrison Snow? He's this guy right here. The guy with my middle finger on? Yeah, that's him. His assistant is standing between, the lady standing between Gambit and Polaris. That's actually assistant Linda, who he's sleeping with. Not surprising, because that is typically how writers depict fictional CEOs. They sleep with their secretaries. A lot. This is nothing unusual. Yep. So yeah, they also set up this woman here, who basically, this woman at the end of the first issue, yeah, the whole point of her being here is to set up something for Quicksilver. Yeah. This lady right here, yeah. She is there just to set up an issue featuring Quicksilver. That happened in the next trade. Yeah, and they go on various missions. Mostly they're sent by... And of course, it's also revealed that Quicksilver is a spy for Havoc, who was leader of the Unity Squad at this point. Yeah, Havoc was actually leader of the Unity Squad from 2012 to 2014. He was leader of the team for 2 years. Until he stepped down thanks to Immense Access. What is he doing now? Well, last I saw him, he was basically put into government custody at the end of the Astonishing X-Men series, the one written by Matthew Rosenberg and artwork by Greg Land. No idea why. Yeah. They also, in here, go to the headquarters of the Thieves Guild, and we also run into this is where they run into Danger for the first time. Yeah, the way you can look at these first 6 issues, it just put it together the roster that will pretty much be the roster for the rest of the series. Like Gambit and Quicksilver joined in issue 1. Polaris already became part of the roster by then. And of course, Magnus, who is... Yeah, he pops up in here as well. He's an alien robot who was the father of the character Warlock. Yeah, and at the end of the storyline, he joins up with him. And of course, Danger pokes fun at his the way he speaks by using the word self a lot. She says, don't you want to say anything else besides self? And he's like, no. I'm glad the fact Peter David writes Warlock how he's supposed to be written. Yeah, this is a character I believe was created by, off the top of my head, I think it may have been Chris Claremont created this character too, along with Gambit. Yeah, this is really good stuff for the series. I'm going to give this book a 9.5 out of 10. Now move on to Volume 2. Yes, this is the press conference. During the press conference, Quicksilver admits he actually lied in an issue of Mighty Avengers revealed it was a Skrull who actually was behind everything. Yeah, he actually lied. He actually publicly admitted it, and he apologized for it. And his daughter Luna actually forgave him. Yeah, he was shocked to see that his daughter showed up. Luna is such an adorable little girl. I'm glad the fact that Peter David actually included her for an issue, which was really nice. Yeah, and here we also see a character who is known as Montomerene, I think it's called. Yeah, it's Latin for something. Yeah, and he's the father of this character, Georgia. Yeah, she becomes sort of a recurring character for pretty much the rest of the series at this point. And she sort of helps out Doug Ramsey. There's a joke about Doug Ramsey in a later trade, a later issue, involving him in danger for some reason. And of course, uh, Warlock punches him for it. As for what it is, you have to. I'll tell you when to get hands on that trade. Mm-hmm. Yep. Her father, believe it or not, dresses up like Baron Samedi. Who is Baron Samedi? Yeah, he was a character for the James Bond films. Yeah, he's basically dressed up as like a voodoo priest. Yep. And let's see, what's a good picture of him? Here he is. Yeah. Is it just me, or he looks like Baron Samedi from Live and Let Die? Yeah, I'm not kidding. This is seriously what the guy calls himself. And the character's name is Georgia. She sort of becomes basically a supporting character, like a trainee for X Factor. Yeah, here's a full picture of him. Yeah. Great look. I love this look for this character. He's actually the first original villain for this whole entire series. And of course, Georgia herself, she was revealed to be the adopted daughter of a known bigot who, prior to the series and after he shows up, he is never mentioned again. I'm not kidding about this, yeah. And of course, we also have several entries getting attacked by this villain. And of course, he gets killed supposedly by George's biological mother. And issue 12 is the press conference issue, which has the first public appearance of X Factor. 8 issues later, the series ends. I'm not kidding about that; it really does. Great stuff for this particular set of issues. Yeah, this one, same creative team. This one contains issues 7 through 12. There is, however, one more trade. Yeah, it's Access. It's the Access. It has contained the Access issues. Now you're probably thinking, okay, 20 issues means that they probably have about 4 trades. Nope. Cancel. They put the final 8 issues in one trade. I will eventually get my hands on it, but this, of course, was a really damn good series. Too bad it was canceled due to low sales. Give this book a 9.5 out of 10. Yes. For some reason, I'm not sure why this is. Apparently, Marvel blamed Gambit for the cancellation of the series, why people weren't buying it because of Gambit. Yeah. Second series he's put in and it gets canceled due to low sales, though this one managed to last for a few more issues longer than the Gambit solo title. Yeah. Though Gambit currently, raft this series into, what happened to this roster? Well, the roster itself sort of disbanded. It's never revealed what the heck happened to this roster if the series left. Yeah. Polaris and Danger got moved over, disappeared for a little while, and then they popped up in X-Men Blue, where they were supporting characters in that title. Quicksilver got moved over in the Candy Avengers, where he stuck with the group up until just this year. Actually, it was last year. As for Cypher and Warlock, let's see. After the series, they popped up for an issue of New Avengers, and then they were never seen ever again. Nope. Yeah, they disappeared. I don't know what happened to them. As for Gambit, after the series ended, he disappeared for an entire year's worth of comics. He didn't show up again until the Deadpool vs. Gambit miniseries that came out 2 years ago. Yeah, that was his first appearance after the series was canceled. Yes, after the series ended, the guy disappeared for over a year. In the case of Polaris, it took her even longer. It took her a good 2 years before she finally showed up again. Same thing with Danger. 2 years, and then she finally shows up again. Yeah. This was a damn good title. It's just too bad not a lot of people bought it. I mean, I couldn't buy it at that point because I couldn't afford it. But I own the trades now that collect this really awesomely told series. So, if I get a chance to maybe hear Dave again, I'm going to give him to sign these 2 damn trades. Because they're really good. Okay? So, that's it for this particular review. Next episode, 2 Hulk trades. Yep. Until I see you next review. Bye.